Hello, my name's Heather, and this is my YouTube channel, Small Town World. Today I'm going to be talking to you about all of my kindergarten curriculum for the upcoming 2024-2025 school year. This will be my first time homeschooling a kindergartner, and there are so many wonderful resources out there. I had a hard time picking, but I'm so excited about everything I bought, and I'm excited to share it with you. So the first thing that I did want to talk to you about was kind of the homeschooling laws in our area, because that affects what I purchased. So I live in the state of Maryland, and our homeschooling laws are referred to as COMAR. And in my opinion, they're very loose. Coming from a public school teaching, state standards matching background, I think it's very easy and open to interpretation to homeschool in Maryland, though I understand that our regulations are a little bit more strict than other states. So in the state of Maryland, COMAR basically says that you need to register as a homeschooler with your intent to homeschool. You need to provide regular, thorough instruction in the studies usually taught in the public schools to children of the same age. And in this instruction, you need to include English, mathematics, science, social studies, art, music, health, physical education. And basically that they need to be taught for a similar duration to what they would receive in a public education to make sure that they're being taught thoroughly. Now, what that entails is entirely up to you. I don't have to meet any state standards. I don't have to do any standardized testing. All I have to do is submit my portfolio to be reviewed between 1 and 3 times a year, usually on the semester of the public county school. Now, there's allowances for if you choose to go into what's called an umbrella school or something else like that. I'm not doing that. I'm doing it just through the state. So all I have to really do is make sure that I am teaching English, math, science, social studies, art, music, health, and physical education. And whatever that includes is entirely up to me. And that's it. And then I have to create a portfolio in our area generally twice a year to be reviewed to ensure that I'm teaching these things. Now I can decide what that entails. I can decide how much or what depth or what direction to go in, entirely up to me. So the way that I am choosing to structure my homeschool this year is that we are going to do 3 learning blocks a day. And I know for people who are used to traditional public school, this will seem like such a short amount of time, but people who are avid homeschoolers, a lot of them will think that this is way too much for a kindergartner. I've heard of people doing as little as 45 minutes a day or less at this age level, and I know in the public school our kids go for an entire full day program in kindergarten, which my personal opinion is way too much. But we do need to keep busy in our household. We're active people, so we need things to do or else our household kind of gets destroyed. So I'm aiming for 3 one-hour blocks of education each day. We're going to homeschool a traditional learning style 4 days a week, and then we're going to do Fun Fridays where we're going to do a co-op specifically designed for socialization and learning and building those relationships and kind of building a community of homeschoolers for us to be a part of. So on our 4 typical traditional days, I just said 4 and did this, 4 typical traditional learning days, like I said, we're going to have 3 blocks. I'm scheduling an hour for each block. I do not expect the things that we're doing in these blocks to take a full hour. I'm leaving that much time for us if we need it. I've said it before, our biggest struggle, my daughter is so smart, so creative, so athletic. She's good at almost everything. Our biggest struggle is our attitude and our social emotional learning. So some things that I know mentally she could do in a very short amount of time, emotionally sometimes it takes us a lot longer. So I'm leaving myself plenty of time to get things done. I don't expect us to actually be doing that. I'm going to break up these 3 blocks with free play time, outside time, lunch, etc. But let's dive in. So to start our mornings every day, I did get the Gentle and Classical Primer program. I will say that this is the program that I am most nervous about. It's very intimidating to me. I don't know if you can see this stack over here, but it's 3 binders high, and that's not even all of it. This is the instruction manual. It's from the Gentle and Classical Press. And I will say this is the one thing that I'm doing that I feel like is very extra. And it's the one thing that really intimidates me. There is a lot to it. There are a lot of extra books that I had to acquire. Now, potentially you can do this program without acquiring all the books that they ask for, but I've invested a lot of money into it because I'm so interested in doing it fully that I wanted to make sure I had all the special resources. So in this program, we're going to be doing a morning menu every morning. And this is one thing that I actually am thinking I'm going to change and customize a little bit. So in our morning menu, there's an all about me page. There is information about the date. There is information about weather, and they do some number learning and some letter learning. One thing that I would like was I would prefer to have a nice cover page because there's an extra space in the back that she's not going to be doing this page. It's not the right page for the week, but it's still there and she can see it, and I think that'll just be confusing, and I just think it doesn't look complete. I did get the printed version of this curriculum because there's so much to it, and I knew that them printing it would be so much better quality and so much better use of my time than if I were to print it. And I do intend to use this again for my younger daughter when she's old enough. So so in the printed version, the problem is all these pages are printed double-sided, so there's only so much I can do to rearrange it. I'm thinking I might copy them and print them single-sided just so that I can put them in the order that makes sense to me. I would like there to be a cover page and have it do the all about me page, and then so all about me would be here, and then on this side I would like to do the weather first and then go into the calendar work and then do the letter work and then do the number on the back, because I just think that makes sense in my brain that it would flow better that way. So I might be reprinting some of these pages to make them work out just so it makes more sense in my mind. The other part of this program is a memory statement board, which you can see behind me. I have this beautiful new linen bulletin board, which I'm so excited to set up, but we're not starting till July, so I haven't set it up yet. I just got it on the wall the other day. I don't have a homeschooling room. We are homeschooling in our dining room, which typically ends up being like our pass-through. This is where we enter the house. It's in between the kitchen and the living room. Everything always just ends up getting cluttered in here. We don't really use it. We just kind of walk through it. So I'm going to be very intentional about making sure I'm keeping this clean so we can do our schoolwork in here, start actually eating meals at our table. I love my table. And just make sure we're utilizing our space to the best of our ability in our home. So on these memory statement boards, and let me pull up a section, there are a variety of topics that we cover. You learn a virtue, manners, and hygiene. There is some religious content as well, including hymn, catechism, Bible story, and scripture each week. You read a wonder tale, which is some form of a fairy tale or an Aesop fable. You do a nursery rhyme. You do a math activity. You learn a poem or poetry. And there is also an art and music study, which I'm going to talk about later. But the biggest reasons that I chose this program, actually I liked everything about it. I'm intimidated by it because there's so much, but I did enjoy everything about it. That it's I like that there was a religious content aspect to it, because that's something that I decided I would like to include in my homeschool. I'm not a fully religious homeschooler. That's not my purpose of homeschooling, but I am Christian and I am home with my kids, and I think in the home is where you should talk about religion, so I like that it had some structure for me to bring that in. I was very intrigued by the virtues and manners and hygiene. Like I said, we kind of struggle with our behavior sometimes, so I like that that was structured into this program and an easy way for me to learn it and start our day with it and set our intent for the day. And I was very interested in the music and art study aspect of the program. There's also a nature study addition to this program, which I did not get. We're not going to do nature study this year. Not to say we won't be learning about nature and enjoying it, we're just not doing it with this program. So the way that I organize this is, you'll see it does not come in all these binders. I made these binders. There's 3 3-inch binders, and each one I have full of these envelopes that are sorted out. And I specifically sorted it so I can grab and go throughout the year, and this took me a lot of time. It was very confusing and frustrating to sort, and I already know there's a couple things I want to go back and change. But basically the idea that I had is in sorting it this way is that at the beginning of each week, I just pull out the cards that I need. So these are all the cards for week 1, for unit 1. So this is the manners and hygienes card. I honor my father and mother. This is the scripture and Bible card. Be kind to one another. The creation story and theology. God created man and women in his image. This is our catechism, character and virtue card. It says, in whose image are we made? We are made in the image of God. I am kind. I have gentle words and gentle ways, to the tune of 3 blind mice. Our nursery rhyme for the week would be Little Bo Peep. Our poetry would be the poem Bed in Summer by Robert Louis Stevenson. And our wonder tale for the week would be The 3 Little Pigs. We are going to read our wonder tale in the mornings when we're doing our memory statement boards, but then once a week we're going to do what's called Wonder Tale Treat Time, and that's going to be one of our specials that we'll do towards the end of the day, where Gwen will get to kind of narrate and act this out, which I'll go over that a little bit more later. For our art and music study, we're going to be learning Girl with a Pearl Earring by Vermeer, and we're going to learn the art element color. And then what is scheduled for week 1 is that they follow a curriculum. I forget which one it was, but they follow the alphabet for that curriculum. I'm not doing that curriculum, so I originally set this up in the way that they suggested, but I think I'm going to switch out my alphabet stuff and just go in alphabetical order because that just makes more sense for me. But they suggest doing lion, L for lion, L for leaf, and the skill that they're working on for their little math, I think of this as more of a math starter. It's not a full math program. It even tells you that in the book. It's just kind of a get your brain moving at the beginning of the day, is to count to 10. So that's our skills for the first week of kindergarten, and we'll do these memory statement cards and boards. They'll be on the bulletin board behind me every morning, probably while we're eating breakfast, and we'll also be doing that, that morning menu that I pointed out. So yeah, that's how I organize these, so that one envelope per week, I can just pull it out and it's nice and neat and easy, and I spend a lot of time doing that. And the stack is huge. I'm like afraid it's gonna fall over, but I am really excited for it. Okay, the other thing that we're gonna do in our morning block is the Dash into Learning program. I'm just gonna move this out of the way. So I got almost everything from Dash into Learning. I was very intrigued by it. So for Dash into Our Learning, this is gonna be our core phonics study as well as handwriting. So this is their handwriting book for level 1. And I highly suggest all these things. I waited until there were sales. So I think I got this whole program at 25% off, and I got the whole program. So not just kindergarten. I got it levels 1, 2, and 3 for basically everything. So here are some samples in the book of their handwriting. And they use a cute little kitty to show you the different places to put the letter. You could also use the Good and the Beautiful handwriting. I've heard good things about it. I just, out of the two, I was more interested in this one. I thought it was cuter. I also put my Dash into Reading and my Dash into Poetry into a binder, similarly to how I did the Gentle and Classical Learning binder. So I have a folder for each book. So there are 3 levels of book sets, and there are 10 books in each level, I believe. And let's go with this one. So book 1, set 1, is Fan and Sam. And you'll see in these little readers, I think they're so precious. At the very beginning of the reader, there are lessons. And there is a suggested schedule for these lessons. Now we are also doing the Good and the Beautiful. We learned our letter sounds already. We're currently learning blending in kindergarten prep. It's going pretty well so far. My daughter actually asked to do a lesson on Saturday, and so I was like, okay, let's do it. I wasn't planning on us doing a lesson on Saturday, but she really wanted to. So I think we're going to be able to move through these more quickly than this program suggests. But basically it teaches the letter sounds, it teaches a couple of sight words, it teaches blending path, blending letters, and blending words. And once you've completed all these lessons, the child will be able to read each book with their absolutely adorable pictures and cute little storylines in a row. Now this would be similar to those Reading House books or to the very popular Bob books. They're just phonics readers, but this comes with the whole program along with it. So along with that, you get a PDF file where you can print out the activity packs for each book. So then you would schedule it, and they suggest that each one of these books should take about 3 weeks. I don't think it's going to take that long, but I'm going to play it by ear and go slow because I want this to be kind of a fun intro to the day. So in this first activity pack, there are quite a few activities. There is a sound search game, a blending game, a memory game, bingo game, And you can see kind of some of these. I printed these out on cardstock so that they would be more heavy duty, because once again, I intend on using this with my younger daughter as well. So in this one, this is for a sound search game, and the instructions were at the beginning of the pack. This is for the blending line, and they have little cutouts so you can move Dash the horse along so they can learn to blend sounds. This is a cute little extra that I want to do with our Wonder-tailed treat time, where there's 2 recipes to go along with this book. I think the kids have a tea party, but it is lemon tea cookies and cucumber tea sandwiches. So we can do that in our first or second week, depending how long this takes. There are paper dolls that you can make of the characters in the book to play with. Here is a page that is like the background, so they can use the paper dolls to act out the story, kind of like a narration to see that they understood. These are playing cards that you cut apart. There's a couple pages of those, and these are the bingo boards that you can use those playing cards to play bingo for them to learn their sounds and sight words and blends. And then there are 2 coloring pages in this pack. Now Gwen is not big on coloring things in, so I don't know how well the coloring pages will work out for her, but worst comes to worst, she just doesn't do the coloring pages. That's okay. They're really there more to entertain a child who does enjoy coloring. She's just not that kid. She prefers to draw things herself. But yeah, so that would be book 1, and like I said, there are 10 levels. Now once she finishes set 1 of Dash into reading, there is also a separate section, and I put it in the book at the end of this, called Dash into Poetry, and she should be able to read this book, read this poetry, as soon as she has completed her Dash into Reading set 1. So if she's completed this set, she should be able to read this poetry book on her own. And this poetry book also comes with an activity book. This one is a bit thicker, and it has more handwriting exercises and drawing exercises in it. So the Dash into Handwriting will go along with the book set 1, and then the activity pack for Dash into Poetry includes handwriting and activities to go along with this Dash into Poetry. So my plan is to get through set 1. I'm not sure if we'll just get through set 1 or set 1 and set 2 in kindergarten. There's no rush, there's no race, but that's my idea. So we'll do Dash into Reading set 1, and then we'll do Dash into Poetry book 1. Then whether we finish this year or next year, we'll move into set 2. At the end of that, we'll do Dash into Poetry set 2, and she should be able to read those higher level poems once she's finished the set. And I have a handwriting level to go along with each of them. So that will be our morning block. So we'll do the little phonics reading lesson. We'll do one of the phonics game, the Dash into Learning activities, one of the games, and we'll do a handwriting page every morning after we do our memory statement board and our morning menu. And that's our morning block. And we'll probably do that at the table while we're eating breakfast, comfy, cozy, cuddly. Our core block, this is the core center of my curriculum, is our math and language arts. And for that, I went with the good and the beautiful. It's been tried and true for us so far. We've done preschool, we're in the middle of kindergarten prep, and I'm excited to start the kindergarten prep curriculum. Gwen is an avid reader, and by that I mean she's not quite reading yet, but she's constantly asking me to read. She's a very active kid, and the one thing that she does calm down and sit still for and listen forever is reading. She has me reading her chapter books already at age 4, along with stories. So I knew I wanted to have as many readers as possible, because I think once she starts to realize that she can read on her own, she's going to want to take off with it. So I did get all of the extra readers to go along with this program. Now the the Good and the Beautiful Language Arts Level K, I have the course book. I did get this used off of a Facebook Marketplace group at a discount, so that's my other tip. Plan what you want to do. Wait for discounts to show up on the website, or buy secondhand for a discount. It's brand new condition, nothing's been written in it, just somebody must have bought it and decided not to use it. In their language arts, it includes phonics, so it's going to be reinforcing that phonics that we're learning at Dash into Learning. It also includes a little bit of writing, reading, grammar and punctuation, spelling, literature, geography, and art. So when I say that you could buy this curriculum and probably skip the other 2, you'd be fine. My morning block is kind of me being extra, but I just really wanted them. I think they'll be a great resource for our family. This, I think, would probably be enough for almost everything because it has your geography, which is your social studies. It includes art. It includes all of your language arts, kind of smaller areas of curriculum. With this, it comes along with these booster books, which once again are little readers, and they're leveled for the curriculum. There are, I forget, does it say how many are on here? 20. There are 20 booster books that go along with the curriculum. And there is also the booster cards. Now, one thing that they do sometimes get knocked online for is they say, well, my kids didn't like doing the booster cards, so we kind of skipped them. Well, if you read the instructions in the book, it says that these booster cards are actually the lessons that teach you how to read, and the book is reinforcing and bringing in the other skills as well. So these are the core of this reading program. So don't skip them. And you can see they have, let's see if I can get to one that has a number. This is the beginning stuff when you're just first learning. So up here where it says card 1, as you go through the lessons, they say that if your kid is picking up on the booster cards and moving quickly through them, go right ahead, keep moving through them. Do not wait for this book. However, on this book, there are pages where it says they have to have this booster card mastered before you can move on to the next thing in this book. That's because this is the core of the language arts curriculum. You have to get these mastered. A lot of people don't like them. They say my kid either memorized them on the page or they just don't want to do them. Well, I think that's where you have to be a teacher and you have to get creative with things. Nobody's going to want to read a card over and over again. I wouldn't want to. But maybe you go out and you write them with chalk on the driveway. Maybe you find a creative way to do it so that they're learning these things. At the end of the day, it's your job to teach. It's not just to follow the instructions. And Good and the Beautiful is great that you can follow the instructions, but when something's not working, that's when you have to kind of use your brain and problem solve and troubleshoot. How are you going to make it work? Now, some people might just say, this curriculum's not for me, I'm going to move on, and I totally respect that. But at the same time, not everybody has the ability to go out and buy new curriculum every 5 minutes. I know I set a budget for my year. My homeschooling budget for 1 year for one child is $2,500, which is excessive, but is a lot less than private school. And I budgeted about $800 out of that for curriculum. Now I bought curriculum for multiple years for less than $800 because I bargain shopped it and planned ahead. So these are the core of your program. You have to get through these more so than the extra book. Okay? Whoosh. And the extra readers that I bought this kindergarten Pet Pals readers. I bought My First Nature Study. And I bought My First Africa reader. And one thing that and once again, these are all structured so that they follow along the same path as the Good in the Learning program. So if you are making progress in the program, then you should be able to read these at roughly the same levels. I believe they tell you in the books, like at which point you should be able to read each story. One thing that I was really excited to hear about the My First Africa reader is that I forget exactly the percentage or if it's a certain dollar amount, but when they sell these, a portion of the profits from this, possibly all of the profits from the My First Africa readers, are donated to African countries to help, I want to say, build like water wells and things for them. So, and they've built quite a few. I saw a commercial recently that said how many they've built this year. I forget the exact number, but I was really excited to buy something that gives back to our world. It's kind of putting their money where their mouth is in terms of trying to make this a better place. Our math curriculum that we're going to be doing this year is the Good and the Beautiful Math Kit. Once again, I bought this curriculum secondhand. It's still in just about brand new, I think. Yeah, it is brand new. I was wondering if that was drawn, but I think it's actually just a fence that's part of the curriculum. So this is a brand new looking book. Nothing's written in it. And it's going to be our level K curriculum. One thing that I really liked about this Math K curriculum is that it came with this wooden box that has all the manipulatives you need for the whole year. Where is it open? There we go. So in here, there are 3 cars. There are a variety of wooden dice. There are 2 little character name pegs for different like board game type of things. And there are these blue counting sticks. It does say in the instructions that you have to put a certain amount of change because we'll start learning money. So like pennies, dimes, quarters in the box and just leave it in there for the whole year. That's not included. You just put your own change from your own change purse in there. But this is all the manipulatives that you should use for the math course for the year, which I really liked. Now, both the language arts and the math are free online for a download of the PDF version. You can download the PDF for free. You don't need to pay any money to buy the books or the math book. However, the PDF download will not have the manipulative box. And from previous experience of doing the PDF download for the preschool, which is not free, I had to pay for that one, but it was a cheaper price. I learned that it is just better to buy the books if it's in your budget. They're very fairly priced, especially since I got them secondhand at a discount. But I think it's just a better quality. It saves you so much time and energy to just have the book and have it together. And I really like this manipulative box. Now, the newer version of the curriculum, they did just change this box to a cardboard version. It still has all the same things in it, but instead of a wooden version, I think it has like plastic versions of things to make it a little cheaper and a little lighter for shipping. So I was excited to get the wood one. If you would prefer the wooden one as well, I'd suggest buying it secondhand also, because I think they're probably sold out of the wood boxes by now. So that's our core unit in the middle of the day. Our language arts and math will do one lesson each. And I don't expect the two of them together to take up to an hour. I'm thinking maybe 30-40 minutes tops. And then the last part of our day is going to be kind of our fun classes. So far I have covered reading and math. And so that still leaves science, social studies, health, PE, art, and music. And I'm going to be doing those in my last block. Now, those will be slightly covered in the things that I've already talked about, but I am going to be intentional about doing them also. So these are my other curriculums. So I've decided that my science, social studies, and health, I'm going to do them as unit studies and rotate throughout the year. Now, my intention is to do one unit of each in each semester. That might change. I don't know exactly how long they're going to take. I think if I'm very strict and by the book, we should be able to get one unit of each done per semester. But also, if we get to the tail end of the year, if we have a lot of sicknesses and we're just struggling to get things done, I'm not going to push it. One of each is plenty for a year. My ideal, we have 2 semesters in the year, so my idea is that we might be able to do 2. We'll see. So my first science that we're going to be starting with is The Good and the Beautiful, Little Hearts and Hands, Wind and Waves. It comes with a parent guide, which is basically has your lessons in it. And it has the Big Book of Science stories. The reason I chose this one, now I have the other ones on my shelf. They're ready to go for 1st and 2nd grade. I'm starting this one because we are going to be starting homeschooling over the summer. I plan to be a year-round homeschooler, especially since we only do 4 structured days a week. And because of the topics, I really wanted to line up the ocean-y themed science lessons with trips to the beach over the weekends. So we're actually going to do this unit not in order. I'm going to do the second half of the curriculum, which is all of the ocean and water themed lessons first. And then as we are rolling into early fall out here, we live on the East Coast. Like I said, we're in Maryland. That's kind of more hurricane season around here. It gets a little bit stormier sometimes, not all the time, but I thought it would be really cool to learn more about the weather type of lessons in the fall. So that's what we're going to do. There are approximately, I think I counted 30 lessons in this. Don't quote me on that. I counted it a long time ago. So I expect this, if we're doing it 4 days a week, to take us maybe 2 to 3 months tops. I don't think it'll take us that long to do. So that's going to be our first science unit from the year. After that, I'm going to switch gears and I'm going to go with Little School of Smiths. Now, this is my binder. I made a list of all of the curriculums, but I did buy the curriculums in a set. I'm not going to do all of these this year, but for kindergarten social studies, we're going to do the Me on the Map unit, and it's just really precious. So this is the start of the Me on the Map unit, and it's written to kind of utilize this book as well as a couple of other books, and it's basically an intro to geography, but it starts with the child and works their way out. So if you can kind of see down here, there's a display. We haven't done these crafts yet, but it starts with my house, and they learn about their house and their street and their town, and it goes out to my city, you learn about your state, you learn about your country, you learn about your continent, planet Earth, and then you do a unit called All About Me, where they've kind of focused back in on themselves. And in each of these lessons, there are book lists of additional reading for you to do. There are different activities, there are different things to explore section, there's a dive deeper section, there are crafts and snacks to do. So this is the part of the day where I'm going to have to really get things together, because we're going to be doing crafts, we're going to be doing snacks, we're going to be doing moving activities. There is a build a roadway activity. There is traffic signs activities where they can make a snack out of a graham cracker and some frosting and some M&Ms, and so on and so forth. I was really impressed by the Little School of Smiths units. Other units that I have are Me and My Amazing Body, Me and My Place in Space, and there is a free bonus lesson on the website called Me and My Family Tree. Now my intention is, I don't know if we will do this and I don't know if we will get to this, but since the Me on the Map is more of a start to geography, social studies, I would actually like to, I am intending to write a unit for the second half of the year that would be something along the same things, but more of an introducing to the idea of history and time. So I did also pick up these other books. I have Me and My Place in Space to go with the science unit, which I'm hoping to do in the spring half of the year. Me and My Amazing Body to use as a health unit in the second half of the year. And Me and My Family Tree is the one that goes along with her free lesson. And I also got Me Counting Time. Now this is an older version. I was hoping to get the newer version, but somehow I ended up clicking on the older one, I guess. So I want to write a unit study that kind of combines the Me and My Family Tree and the Me Counting Time stories to kind of follow along the same vibe as the Me and Me on the Map unit, but to kind of introduce the history and to start with herself and her family and her grandparents and go back in history to understand the different quantities of time and kind of how she came to be here today. I just think that'd be a really cute thing to do. So that's my big thought there. As an addition, I'm considering this as part of our health. I'm calling it health and wellness, because once again, the curricular areas are up to me. I can choose what goes into it. So like I said, my plan is to do the Me and My Amazing Body second semester for health, first semester for health, and I'm not sure once again how long this will take, but this is from Dash Into Learning, and this is our program called Dash Into Happy, which I haven't taken out of the plastic yet. I haven't printed the activity pages for this one yet. I'm planning on doing this third. So I'm going to do The Good and the Beautiful, Wind and Waves. Then I'm going to do Little School of Smiths, Me on the Map, and then I'm going to do Dash Into Learning's Dash Into Happy, which is an emotional resilience program. Remember I said that's our struggle, so I'm going to do this first before Me and My Amazing Body, because it's just more important for us to continue to learn these things. We did SEL all year for preschool, and this is kind of a different take on an SEL program. So they're teaching lessons about emotional resilience, manners, etiquette, how to handle tough situations through kind of slightly twisted, I guess, fractured fairy tales. So this first one is The Three Bears, but there are 6 books in this curriculum. I believe it should take roughly as long as the other 2 unit studies we're doing, but once again, we'll kind of see how that shakes out. But yeah, so we're going to do this for our health. So those are our big unit studies. And then the only other thing that I'm going to do in that last section of the day, in our last block, is our art and music study. We're planning on doing gymnastics for one of our PE things. I'm also going to keep for our PE credits, I'm also going to keep an activity log for PE of all the bike riding and playing and sports and games that we do, but we are going to do gymnastics weekly. So one day a week we're going to do gymnastics. I found a homeschooler gymnastics program that's in the middle of the day, which is great because I hate doing dinner time things. I think at the end of the day I just like to focus on family time and dinner and getting ready for bed. So Gentle and Classical Primer has the art and music study, and I really fell in love and I'm so excited for this program. So you alternate between music and art each week. And not only are you learning to do art and learn to play with music, but there's a composer and an artist study. So they're learning a little bit of art history at this young age, which I thought was amazing. I know for Unit 1, you start with a Vermeer painting, Girl with the Pearl Earring, and the element color. Now you do an activity where they talk about why Vermeer was so renowned, why he was so popular in his time, and the fact that he used different pigments and to make the paint for his paintings, and how it was a different process. He didn't just go to the craft store and pick up paint. He actually had to take pigments, which were a solid, and crush them and mix them with the liquid in order to make the paint, and how the different colors of pigments cost different amount of money because it was expensive to buy them. And the kids actually do kind of like a science experiment where they take chalk and they're going to mix it with, crush it themselves and mix it with water, and you're going to go outside with a paintbrush in your driveway or sidewalk or wherever it works for you, and they're going to paint with the chalk to kind of see how they painted, making their own pigments. The kids get to do it too. Then the next week they're going to go to a composer study, and they are going to learn about, they're starting with Bach, and they're going to learn about the well-tempered clavier. I don't know how to say that. They're going to learn about different instruments, and they're going to read different books. For example, this week 2 is Becoming Bach, and they're going to learn about different things in terms of music education. And she's going to rotate like this, one each week throughout the year. So I'm really excited for the art and music study. There are more printed items out to go through for this, which I haven't taken out yet. So these are the arts prints and posters of the actual paintings and artwork that she's going to learn about throughout the year, so she can actually touch them and feel them, or I can put them up on my bulletin board. And then this right here is our storyboard pack. So that's another one of our specials that we're going to do. I'm going to do this on Thursdays, I believe. So once we've learned our Wonder Tale, we'll have our Wonder Tale treat time on Thursdays. That's our last traditional learning day of the week. In the afternoon, so it'll kind of be like a tea time, and she's going to take out, there's all these different backgrounds and characters. It's going to be a lot of cutting for me, but she's going to use them to act out the Wonder Tale that we learned that week and show me that she learned the story and her interpretations of it, which I'm really excited for. I think it's the sweetest idea I've ever heard of, Wonder Tale treat time. So this goes on with that. So one day a week we're going to do gymnastics. One day a week we're going to do Wonder Tale treat time. One day a week we're going to do our art or music study. And Gwen also is currently seeing a therapist, so we're going to do therapy one day a week. I don't know how much longer we're going to need to continue that. We have found our diagnosis, and we're just trying to work on our ways to help her just be the best that she can be. And yeah, so I don't know if we're going to need to continue seeing a therapist all the way into the school year once we've kind of figured out the best ways that we can help her with her struggles and just be a happy kid. Okay, there's 3 other things that I wanted to talk to you about. I just found this workbook the other day. So in a traditional public school, they really don't do history or geography at all in kindergarten, which I understand. They do more of a kind of my community helpers type of thing. What's a fireman? What's a policeman? And I was a little, I wouldn't say worried, but I was kind of wondering, I was like, we really don't have that. I think she can kind of just learn that by living in our community. Like, she already knows what these people are. But I was at Ollie's the other day and I found this workbook for 99 cents. It's Step Up Kids Workbook, My Community, Helpers and Places. And there's stickers in it and just little activities that we can do. So I think I'm going to work these in as part of our social studies unit. But I just thought it was a cute little addition, and whether we use it or not, I don't know. It was 99 cents, so I was willing to take the risk there. 2 other enrichment things that we've been doing this school year that we're going to continue through kindergarten. She has 2 magazine subscriptions that they're always fun to look at. So to kind of reinforce our reading and our language arts, and just creativity, we have highlights, but we have the high 5 version for the younger kids, which has poems, activities. It's a fun time. We cuddle on the couch and we look at them. Gwen's really into science and animals in particular. So I also get her Ranger Rick Jr. Both subscriptions are very reasonable. I would say Ranger Rick Jr. is definitely cheaper than highlights, but and they have all these little things, information about animals, and Gwen's very interested in it. And once again, we kind of, when it comes in, we sit on the couch and we cuddle and we enjoy it. So those are 2 kind of additional subscriptions that I have that we'll be keeping up with this year. Are you intimidated? I'm a little bit. I'm very excited for all of it. There's not a thing here that I'm not excited to do. I will say, like I said, Gentle and Classical Primer is just so much that I'm intimidated by it, but I'm very excited to use it. Every time I think about it, I'll start to kind of maybe feel like, oh, should I have buyer's remorse? Did I spend too much on this program? Is it going to be too hard? But then when I look through it, I'm like, no, this is all wonderful. These are things that I want her to do. And I think that it's going to flow so much easier once we start doing it than it is just trying to wrap my head around this giant pile of curriculum that's also over here. So what do you think? Are you interested in any of these finds? Did you choose any of the same things too? What grades are you going to be teaching this year? Is there anything you'd like to see more of? I feel I can totally make an entire video. I didn't even include any of the extra reading books that I had to get, the extra resources for gentle and classical. There are other videos out there about it, but if you'd like me to kind of make one for you and break it down, I'm happy to do that. Yeah, I think that's it. That's our kindergarten year in a very long nutshell. Sorry the video was so long. There was just a lot to cover. And I hope you guys have a wonderful summer and a great school year. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more homeschooling videos or just hear me ramble on for some reason, feel free to give the channel a like and a subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you. Bye.